Welcome back in. One segment left. These fall camp shows are so much fun. The anticipation for football, it is building and building. Can't wait to hear about what happened at the scrimmage, and I'm sure we'll get a lot more of that at the beginning of next week. We'll have you covered, of course, wall-to-wall coverage, KSLSports.com. Mitch, we have to start with this. That Kenneth Rooks race at this steeplechase final in the Olympics, was that not almost as thrilling as when he fell down and came back and won? I mean, that was an unbelievable race by Kenneth Rooks, a former BYU track star who's a professional now, winning the silver medal in the 24 Paris Olympics. That was amazing.
Incredible. And Kenneth Rooks is an inspiring athlete. And I think in his Olympics bio, it says he's a man of, quote, extreme faith, which I kind of thought, why are they using the word extreme? Are they referencing what they're saying? Is that a viewpoint on the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints? I think that's a little bit much, but he is a great guy. And I just think back to our conversation with him. He was amazing. There is a lot of passion in that man and belief and resilience. And that just showed itself. And yeah, that was so cool to see him win a medal, and in a pool of runners where there's a world record holder in that run, and he was holding his own. Pretty remarkable stuff. And now we can say on this show we've interviewed an Olympic medalist. That's pretty cool.
That's really cool. On the NFL, there's a few NFL stories, and preseason we're in the thick of this first week of preseason, though it doesn't have the same juice, Mitch, to me anymore.
Yeah,
doesn't feel like it means as much as it used to. But one guy found himself a new home in the middle of the week, and it wasn't as much of a surprise to me. But Dax Milne was let go by the Commanders, quickly picked up by your Raiders. What do you think of the Dax Milne signing to Las Vegas?
I hope he fulfills the role that Hunter Renfrow once had with the Raiders. I hope Dax Milne, it works for him, and it just never. He got some opportunities with Washington, and Ron Rivera picked him, but then they ultimately cut him now. So apparently they just didn't believe in him enough to keep him on board long term. But it's got to work for Dax this year, because this is one of those, for him being a former 7th round pick, where it could be make or break. And if he doesn't, find a role, he could just be forever out of a job in the NFL forever after this year. So maybe the Raiders could be that jolt to his career, and I hope it works out for Dax.
NFL came out with their top 100 players list, and Puka Nacua was on the list. Did it blow you away that he was in the top 40? He was number 33, Mitch. He's going into his second year. Puka Nacua, 33rd in this list. Look, I know the list means nothing, but for someone to be a 5th-round pick and then to explode and now be recognized as one of the top receivers in the game, that's pretty remarkable.
It is, and it just, I think, again, I was excited to see that because it provided a little more validity to what I was trying to say with my BYU list, because some people, and even people in the administration at BYU, were not too thrilled that he was in the same ballpark as Austin Collie. Not that they didn't, think Puka was great.
To be fair, Collie had a much better career at BYU.
He did. And Collie probably would have had as great, well, I don't know if I should say as great, because Puka has shattered records.
Right.
Collie would have been outstanding in the NFL had it not been for the injuries.
Yep.
Peyton.
He'd probably be like a Cooper Kupp type.
Yeah.
Honestly.
Peyton Manning loved him. Tom Brady loved him. Just he'd always get the injuries, and it was scary because then it was head related. Anyway, but Puka's just a remarkable talent, and I hope he stays healthy though. He's been getting a little bit banged up, week to week there for him. Hopefully he's good to go for the season, because look, you could be at the highest of highs in the NFL. And I always point to this example because BYU once upon a time played him. Sean Alexander, a former Alabama running back, Seahawks, MVP, and I think it was, 2 years later he got cut? Maybe 3?
Yep.
It can go in a hurry in the NFL. So availability is critical. Get healthy, Puka. Tear it up like you always do, but stay healthy, man. That's the key.
Yeah, I am worried about that. I didn't like that story coming out that it doesn't seem serious, but you don't want someone to be,
Mm-mm.
especially Puka has proven himself to an extent, but I feel like he needs another year to really solidify himself. So hopefully, whatever happened in camp for Puka is short term.
And we know all too well the life of watching or being on Puka injury watch. That was just every week in 2022. He goes in and then he's down and he's hobbling. Like Puka's kind of that guy that'll, kind of just you're holding your breath every time he gets tackled because he's just had a long list of injuries, even at Washington. He's been banged up, so I'm fingers crossed. I hope Puka just back to full speed because when he's one of the best to do it.
Last thing, Mitch, 5 opponents on BYU football's schedule are in the preseason coaches top 25 poll. Utah number 13, Kansas State 17, Oklahoma State 18, Arizona 21, Kansas number 24, and then SMU and UCF getting votes. So the coaches think that BYU's schedule is going to be pretty dang tough. Though I still maintain, Mitch, you get some of these games at home, and if you can just capitalize on like Kansas State, Oklahoma State, Arizona, Kansas, they're all home. Can you steal a couple of those, 2 of those? Then you're going bowling. So it's definitely a tough schedule, but you like that you get a lot of these games at home.
And you like too that in a world of power conferences consolidating, the Big 12, because they got that power conference label, they'll still have about 5 teams or so in preseason rankings. More times than not, they had more than the ACC. And I know the coaches poll is really not a real indicator
Much ado about nothing.
Yeah, it's just an opinion. It's probably the SIDs. I'll have to ask if Kalani's got a vote this year. We'll have to, and then which ultimately would mean it's Brett Pine's vote if it is Kalani's. but it is a little tidbit because I can't think of many home schedules where you had 4 ranked teams potentially coming to Provo. I remember 2019 they had Utah, USC, Washington all ranked. That was pretty cool. BYU was only 1-2 in those games, but BYU is always a place that can pull off an upset or 2 in Provo. So be leery, Kansas State, when you're coming in September. That could be a dangerous spot for EMA, go Power Cat, Kansas State when they roll in. So BYU is going to spring an upset or 2 in that group.
Good stuff today, Mitch. Thanks to our producer, Nate Slack. Thanks to you, as always, and your great coverage of BYU sports. And, hey, looking forward to next week as camp. It feels like it just started, but yet it kind of feels like the halfway point today.
You as well, Matt. Great stuff as always. Continue the great work and the insights at fall camp. Matt's always got fills the gaps on anything I might have missed. He's got the little tidbits on camp. He's doing a great job with all of his fall camp breakdowns. So Cougar Nation, we appreciate you. Talk to you on Monday on social media on fall camp breakdowns in the next week here on Cougar Sports Saturday. As always, it's powered by KSL Sports.